Although the army and the government act independently of each other, the loyalty of an army to the government is of great importance for the future of the country, especially in the times of war situation that necessitate the unity of the military and political power. Without this unity, countries can face a major disaster. The Russian Federation is facing a major crisis in the ongoing war between Russia and Ukraine. The anger of the Russian armed forces personnel against the political power is growing day by day. These problems, especially through social media, clearly revealed the difficult situation Russia is in. So, what is happening in the Russian armed forces? Let's examine the latest developments together. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications so as not to miss the Pioneer's daily map analysis and reports on the agenda. You can also support your team who prepared this study by using the Super Thanks button below the video. Let's start if you're ready. The Pioneer reports. Not too long ago, we told you about the fighters called mobiks who serve in Russian armed forces. The main problem of these fighters was that Vladimir Putin, the president of the Russian Federation, sacrificed their lives. Vladimir Putin was using these fighters as a minesweeping robot and throwing them as a bait in front of the Ukrainian soldiers. Thus, he was ensuring the survival of the unofficial personnel of the Russian army. However, it seems that the Russian fighters who are officially serving in the Ukrainian theater as a personnel of the Russian armed forces are also very uncomfortable with certain situation and have started to voice this. In the past few days, an audio recording of soldiers from one of the Russian frontline units has leaked to the press. The audio recording clearly reveals the Russian soldiers' perspective on Putin and the war. Russian soldiers want Putin to leave office now. The claims of the Russian soldiers are quite remarkable. The Russian soldier, one of the soldiers working on the front line and dancing with death at every moment, makes the following statements in the aforementioned audio recordings. Russia has turned into Tsarist Russia. The great Tsar Putin and us, he's slaves. He sees us as his slaves. He thinks we have to whether he wants and die for his ambitions. This is nonsense. We're soldiers. We're supposed to be respected. But because of Putin and his wrong decisions, we are recognized as murderers. The expressions used by the Russian soldiers on the audio recording are quite remarkable in terms of revealing the complex situation in the Russian army. There is also another point that stands out in these voice recordings. In our report on the audio recording released by the mobiks, we mentioned the issue that the mobiks are uncomfortable with. Just like the mobiks, the official personnel of the Russian armed forces point out that they are dying at Putin's personal ambitions. The Russian soldiers also point out that mobiks have more rights in the army. According to the Russian soldiers, mobiks who are actually prison inmates are more respected than Russian soldiers. The Russian soldier makes the following statements in the audio recording. Even the convicts they took from prison as soldiers have more rights than us. We are the original members of Russia, but the government excludes us. In the next elections, I will do my best to make Putin go. These audio recordings should be scrutinized from every angle. In this audio recording, we witness two problems in the Russian army. The first is growing anger against Putin, which is being expressed more and more. We knew that there was an intense anger against Putin before, but it was not easily expressed, because Putin's repression was a big obstacle. The existence of anger against Putin was usually revealed through the testimonies of Russian soldiers who surrendered to the Ukrainian army. However, with Wagner's coup attempt, Putin's weakening authority seems to have emboldened the Russian soldiers. The loss of Putin's authority seems to have given Russian soldiers the opportunity to voice their grievances. Another striking point is the growing anger of the Russian armed forces against the mobik fighters groups. We see that there is a mutual anger here. While the so-called mobik fighters groups express that they have no rights against the Russian armed forces personnel, the Russian armed forces attacks the mobik fighter groups with the same accusation. This situation may lead to many problems in the future. The most important one is the possibility of a civil war. As you know, the Russian Federation is made of many different nationalities. Therefore, the Russian army also has a multinational structure. In a civil war scenario in the army, the possibility of these different elements fighting each other will increase considerably. While new crises begin to emerge in the Russian army every day, the sense of unity and solidarity shown by the Ukrainian army does not go unnoticed. While the counterattack of the Ukrainian armed forces continues unabated on the front line, there is a great harmony among the Ukrainian personnel. The Russian forces lost a great deal of power in the face of the performance of the Ukrainian land forces, the Ukrainian Air Force, and the Ukrainian Navy. The artillery units of the Ukrainian ground forces have attracted attention in recent days. As a result of the attacks carried out by Ukrainian artillery, the Russian occupation forces suffered great losses. They also continue to suffer losses. In the past days, there were moving moments in the occupied city of Berdyansk. The port city of Berdyansk was shaken by powerful explosions in the morning hours. According to local sources, the explosion in the region were a missile attack. There is no data yet on the balance sheets of the attacks targeting points in the open terrain. Another point shaken by missile strike was Melitopol. There is no detailed information on the explosion that took place shortly after the explosions in Berdyansk. The explanation for the explosions came from the Ivan Fedorov, the legal mayor of the city. Fedorov announced that the explosions in the city with the following statements. In Melitopol, strong explosions were heard by residents of the central part of the city. In Mikhailivka, a resident reported 5 powerful explosions. According to the spokesperson of Ministry of Defense of Ukraine, Hanna Maliar, the latest situation of the Ukrainian armed forces on the Berdyansk and Melitopol lines as follows. Offensive actions continue in Berdyansk and Melitopol regions. In the Malta-Tokmachka, Novopokrovka, and Velika-Novosilivka-Eurozhin directions, our defenders have been successful and are holding on to the rich borders. The initiative is on our side. The enemy's task is to stop our advance, and they are making great efforts to do so. Our enemy is strong. That is why our troops have to act in extremely difficult conditions. Also, certain conditions have to be created for further progress. Of course, this takes time. Remember the liberation of Kherson. It took us more than a day to liberate Kherson. What do you think? Do you think a civil war within the Russian armed forces is possible? Can we talk about an uprising against Putin? Will the Russian army be able to continue fighting under these conditions? What do you think about the success of Ukrainian artillery units? Can Ukrainian artillery change the fate of the war? We care about your opinion. Please share them with us.